Hello, my name's Jonathan Buckley, and I'm principal and owner of a company called the Artesian Network. For context, I was a career CMO in Silicon Valley for companies public and private for years. And about 16 years ago, started the Artesian Network to help early stage companies get their products into enterprise type sales, all B2B technology. And we've been met with some success using some of the tips and tricks I'm going to show you today as we go through how to pitch and close high stake business deals. A little over 50% of our clients have ultimately made it to IPO or a strategic acquisition. So the process is well vetted. So it starts in a room just like this one. No slides, no AI prompt, no second chances. Just you, the ask, and the opportunity of a lifetime, perhaps, if you're the salesperson on the deal or the business developer. So it starts at a multi-part process to go through this. So preparation and strategy is always of supreme importance. Very deep research, which it helps to have AI these days to do some of this preparation and strategy work. Knowing the prospects, industry, financials, competitors, priorities, really understanding and walking their shoes, in their shoes, is an important thing. I mean, it's supreme importance. Now, identify all the stakeholders, the decision makers, influencers, blockers, champions. There is some math in this process. In enterprise sales, you tend to need 6 to 7 constituents in a sale. Sure, you have a primary buyer, but there are constituents that can sink your deal or help it move forward. The other part of the math is on the marketing side leading up to your high stake business deal. So you usually have to touch each of these 6 to 7 constituents 5 to 6 times. So there is well vetted math behind this. We've proven it, we've shown it. When you set up the marketing, all the pre-work, all the strategy work ahead of this high stakes sale, know that those are the stats you probably have to hit. So it's important to develop a highly tailored narrative focused on the client pain and opportunities, not the tech, not the intricacies of the different pieces of value that can be brought by that tech, but in the words and terms of that client. And those words, terms, and KPIs perhaps of that client come from your deep research that you've done ahead of the project. So it's also important at this point, before you have engagement, to prepare responses, potential objections. There are always objections, of course. Understanding what they could be by walking in your client's shoes are very, very important. So now it comes down to pitch execution. Now, this is very important because there's a lot of math behind this too. You have to tell a story. You're not selling just on ROI. That's important. I'll get to that in a second. You're not selling on the different slices of value that you might be developing, but you're selling at a story level to start with. Now, people remember facts up to 22 times more effectively when they're embedded in a story compared to standalone stats. And this comes from a Stanford study we've leveraged in the past. So 22 times is a lot. So think of the memory recall probability too. Raw recall of facts that you might pitch is about, say, 5% on average. This comes from the same study. Story-based recall is 65%. So that tells it all right there. So if you have 100 prospects evaluating a $100,000 solution, without emotional trust building, maybe 10 convert. And the emotional trust building comes through that story. With effective storytelling, conversion can jump to 20, maybe 25 out of those 100 prospects. It's an extra 1 to 1.5 million revenue for the same pipeline. So again, I'm making the case for the story development. Many of us marketers call this the messaging, the positioning, the storytelling. It's a lot of the work that we do. So other statistics along these lines is B2B demand gen report in 22 found 68% of buyers want stories of how peers solve similar problems before making a high value purchase. So make sure this is in your story. That's a 1,200% improvement in effectiveness by pulling in stories of how peers solve similar problems. So your case studies, your concrete examples are very, very important to your storytelling. Lead the presentation at this point, after your story and context is set, with business outcomes and impact metrics. This makes it memorable. This ties it to the customer's goals. Again, we're not talking about tech here and the features and functions. If you're selling such a product, if you're selling services, again, there are features of your service. So lead with business outcomes and impact metrics. And then remember, throughout, incorporate the storytelling, your case studies, success narratives, your analogies. Very important. It'll be seen as high value. Everyone likes benchmark data. So it is also important in these high value sales to present ROI models and financial impact. People want proof. And based on the case studies and the story that you're telling, what does it mean at the bottom line? It's important also at this point to engage these 6 to 7 stakeholders in an enterprise sale with questions and sell with questions. Avoid this one-way lecturing that sinks so many deals. There are many different sales methods out there. I've gone through Sandler. I've gone through a number of other sales training platforms, but they're very important and they have a common theme, and that is to avoid, seek to understand and not be understood in this process of storytelling and selling. So as you might imagine, trust and relationship building is of supreme importance on these high stake deals. We're not talking about a basic transaction, but if you're talking hundreds of thousands, many millions, I've been part of hundreds of millions of dollars over my career in closed deals. That you, in this trust building, you have to demonstrate your expertise early with credible references, this storytelling, past successes, concrete examples. Be really transparent about the risks and limitations to build trust. No one wants to hear a perfectly sunshine story. There are always risks and potential shortfalls that come in an engagement in a partnership. Be honest about them. And as we set the context up front, make sure that these are all set with alignment with the client goals. Again, it's about them. It's not about you. So emphasize partnership, not selling. High value deals are not transactions in and of themselves. They usually mean the beginning of something that's more involved and truly a partnership. So at this point, you're getting to closing and negotiation. Maybe you've had a few meetings. Likely you have 6 to 7 stakeholders. Establish urgency at this point, linking your solution, whatever you're selling, to the strategic deadlines or risks that the company, your client, might face. Position the cost of interaction as greater than the investment required. This is obvious. The cost of inaction is, if it far outweighs the investment required, this in and of itself can be a compelling sense of urgency. They're missing out on something. Remember to negotiate based on ROI and outcomes, not discounts. Discounts might come into play at some point, but if you're selling on value, you have your story set up, you understand the client, you've attached to their goals, their metrics, their KPIs. You shouldn't at this point be talking about discounts. Talk about ROI and outcomes and value. And gain a mutual, at this point, before your deal closes, you have to gain mutual commitment. This is the trust building. This is the tying back to their metrics. Confirm obligations and success expectations. This is very, very important. So there's always a post-pitch follow-through, and this is before your deal is closed. Send follow-up concise executive recaps highlighting value, steps, timelines. A lot of these sales these days are done over, say, Zoom or a similar platform. Most of them have integrated AI, or you can use an outside product like Otter or Firefly. There are a number of these AI translators or transcribers, I should say. They will help you very easily sum up your meeting without as much time as it used to take 5 years ago. Now, it's important at this point to maintain engagement with insights, data, or relevant updates. You should be connected with your marketing team at this point, where the messaging coming from the marketing team matches the unique messaging that you've developed for this account. They don't want to get rogue emails, webinar requests, and things to mess up your sale, your messaging in that particular sale. And finally, introduce the concept of your implementation team, or introduce your implementation team to develop this early delivery confidence, if you will. With these steps, starting with storytelling, understanding the customer, building trust, all the steps that I've outlined here, now you've set yourself up for the best potential outcome of a high value sale. With that, I thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please reach out to Jonathan W. Buckley on LinkedIn or jonathanwbuckley.com for more information about me, or artesiannetwork.com for information about my company and how we may be able to serve you in the future. Thank you very much.